Good evening, everybody. This is Chris Peters and Kareem Mays with the Entrepreneur Power Hour. We've got Ron Lester, Cedric, Bill Maybauer, and we have, is that it for now? That's it for right now. And tonight we're talking about sound spending habits of business people. So guys, what are some ways that you think is good to spend money versus ways that are not good to spend money if you're trying to build a business?
Now that depends on what you're spending. Is interesting because you've got your absolute necessities that you have, your everyday expenses. Then you've also got your marketing. That's it's very difficult. You got to kind of weigh the options on that one.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
I think you need an advertising budget, and you need to stick that in with what are you regularly going to do in your regular living expenses. So you don't want to over expend too much on advertising, obviously, because you need to keep your bills on, but you also want to make sure that you have enough to keep your business going and not just stagnate. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm seeing how much do I need for advertising, how much do I need for different things like the Zoom Hangouts. I have to budget a little bit of money for that. I have to budget a little bit of money for maybe development on a website for creating content. And then you figure out what you need to do along the way. But definitely going out and buying like expensive clothes, going out and buying maybe expensive shoes, stuff like that. I've taken that all out. I used to do that. I don't do that anymore. I think it's very important. Everybody else take a look at their expenses and make sure that they don't go broke while trying to build their dream.
Yeah, it's important to really, when you're talking about expenses, really to know your limitations. You got to, there's no joke on that one. You don't have to go all out and, get the most expensive attire or anything like that. There's things that are out there that are available that you can go and budget on. And so that makes it a lot easier. But what you really want to focus on is, when you're talking about your marketing and advertising, is where are you at the moment? Are you ready to go aggressive? At that point, you better start thinking about between 60 and 70% of what you're looking for, at least in terms of how much you're looking to get a return on.
You can go broke advertising. And I believe that you need to take a look at your base of what you need to bring in for your business. And then after you hit that, you start to taking a percentage of your profits and start to scaling. It might be 25%, it might be 50%, just based on where your budget's at.
Yep.
And you're right about don't be extravagant out there, because that's not wise. That's what most consumers do. And when you're a business person, you can't think like a consumer. You can think like the consumer thinks when it comes to your advertisement. But, that's basically, the short of the whole thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Also your presentation, how you appear to your customers. If you're putting something high end, you might want to consider a heavy budget, because if you're going to go all out in appearance, you better go all out in your advertising as well. But for the most part, I think you're right. You pretty much all your budget into your advertising and marketing. You can worry about the other stuff later on.
One thing, because we have social media now, there's a big push toward native advertisement. It's a good push of that, adding value in the marketplace, building those relationships with people. You have so many different social media platforms that you can do that. So, like Zig Ziglar, you care about their success. Once people know that you care about their success, you have to take those cold prospects and actually warm them up, either through your autoresponder or different things like that. Then you have, your hot prospects is basically your family members and things like that, the ones that you get your practice on. You're not really expecting them to buy from you because when I was out there basically pushing products and stuff like that, they stopped me from coming or inviting me to Christmas parties and stuff like that because, they know I was.
Oh God, Cedric's coming.
Yeah. What you doing? Turn the lights off.
put your wallets away. Here comes Cedric.
Yeah. So basically you're taking, you have a warm market out there, and those are the people that know, like, and trust you. And if you're looking at advertisement, the cold prospect is going to take a while for you to, to build that rapport and start to get an ROI on that kind of stuff. So really, you can do a lot of stuff out here without even spending any money on advertisement.
And actually, what's nice about that is in the age of social media, if you're clever enough and you do the research, you can actually, like I met all of you guys, I didn't actually have to go out and advertise and spend tons and tons of money to actually meet someone. And it's just a matter of building that relationship. And a lot of people talk about leads. You have to have leads. And I agree with that. But what I was thinking one day randomly is leads are important, but relationships are 100 times more important. See, a lead is just, Bob Jones on a paper. And you can say that you call him up once or twice and maybe you talk to him, but does that person really know you? Do you know him? Do you really care about what he feels about? Do you know what he's all about? What's really in him? What's really in you? And when you can find that relationship and you can find that common ground and really dig deep and find who someone is and enjoy their company, enjoy their time or not, and then either work with them or find somebody else, you're going to start to create relationships, real relationships. And I think that's honestly where all the connections, all the money, all the business prospects come from. It's just creating that awesome relationship with a few people like I have Ron, Chris, Bill, and Francis, and different people that I've come to know through the years.
Yeah, I mean, when me and you met, Kareem, it was back in 2012, I believe it was. And we were talking about, we didn't talk about business. I introduced myself, told him who I was, and he eventually joined me in my business. And it wasn't because I had a great product or I had the best compensation plan or the best products. It was because I wanted to be his bro. I wanted to be his friend. I wanted to know who he was and what he was doing and how I could help him. And we actually met through a program called Mentoring for Free. So we have that to thank. We did do that for a while. We moved on, but that's how I met Kareem. And I learned very early on that networking is about relationship building. That's what it's all about. When you got people that you can feel connected to, you got people you can come and rely on and talk with and get ideas from and give someone else ideas. That's the whole essence of what we're doing here. So that's how I met all you wonderful people, was through networking.
And I think that ties back into how do you spend wisely on your business. A lot of people spend time, I got to get leads, I got to do SEO, which is all fine. That's all important. I'm not saying it's not. But what it really comes down to is all that money you're spending getting those people to you, can you create a relationship with them? Because that's really where it turns to an actual income. It's not how many leads you get, not how many but how many people you truly connect with. And that's
what? It's interesting you said that. I during the summer months, I am a big proponent of. I love flea markets. Best $10-25 you can spend, and I'll tell you what, it's you set up a booth. You've got, like in my case. Well, actually, you too. You're close enough. You can be over here in Hurtville. It gets like 150,000 people during the height of the season. That's a weekend. So when you got $25 to set up a booth, bring any of your materials you want to present to them. You're right there at the table. People are coming in. Great way to just interact. And I actually prefer that over advertising on social media during the summer, because you can get out there when you see people face to face, it's much easier to make a really good relationship with the folks that way.
Yeah, definitely face-to-face is good. And we have one of our regular panelists, Miss Frances Richardson. How are you doing, Frances?
Hello, I'm off camera. It's a bad hair day.
It's okay. We all have them. Can't say I'm perfect with that. Sometimes I get out of the shower and my hair's sticking all up and I gotta comb it down. But anyway, Miss Frances, what do you think, because I know you do some businesses of your own, what do you think are some good and bad ways to manage your dinero?
I think first off, you have to do your own due diligence in anything that you're doing. If it's a traffic exchange, you're not going to upgrade. You can join free and take a trial shot at anything. Don't jump in with both feet. Test the water, see if it's going to work for you. And then you could upgrade, but see if the value is there before you invest.
I think a problem that happens is a lot of people give you a product and they'll upsell you till they've got thousands or hundreds of dollars and you don't even know if you want to use this product.
You know what you're buying.
And you don't know if it's good or not. I mean, it could have good reviews. It could be the best product, but at least try it. Like a lot of people need to, like you're saying, try a trial, try a little bit, spice it up. See if it works, if it's actually helping you, because everybody's going to tell you they have the thing for your business and they'll make you this amount or this amount. But it's really sitting down and saying, is this tool useful for me? How's it used?
I'm not going to make it for you. You're going to make it for you.
Yeah. Do you need 6 auto responders? I mean, I have 2, but
no.
But another 2 people are regulars, guests, really cool friends.
Yep, Rick and Cheryl.
What's up?
The island.
The island.
The islands.
From
What's going on,
Hawaii.
man? From Hawaii. You're muted, guys. They are muted. There you go.
Better?
Yeah. How's it going? Thanks for being here.
Hey, what's up? What are you guys talking about now?
Well, we're talking about successful spending habits of business people. And you guys have been in marketing for a long time. So what are some spending habits you practice to keep making sure you have enough money for everything?
My wife is so tight with money, it's not even funny. This is how tight.
Good.
Like I think her parents, like they always had money, right? They were never in debt. They never bought anything on credit ever. They owned their house, their land, and all like that. It wasn't like a mansion, or anything. Like and then the habits, like she got the habits, right? She started working at Jack in the Box, and I think, how much were you making?
$1.80 an hour.
And how much did you save? Of course, she was living at home and all like this, but like 5 G's or something.
5,000.
Before you even got married, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I don't know if they're stingy or what. So, that wasn't me, dude. I was out there I was out there doing it. I wasn't much at saving anything, but I saw the value of properties and stuff like that. But she always saved and then was real frugal with her money, So as an entrepreneur, then she makes everything for herself. Like I don't know how to explain it, but that's like real old school. Today, people don't make anything anymore, and mostly they're in the debt consciousness. Yep. And we tried to get out of that. We are out of that consciousness, but we were still in it probably like 20 years ago, where we had a mortgage and a car payment and all like that. And to me, that was the most important thing, is that sort of a shift in the way I looked at things. Well, I don't have a credit card,
We haven't had credit cards for 15 years. I was figuring that out the other day.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it sort of sucks because I want a new surfboard and I know that my friend's going to pay me next week, right? But so I have to wait or something like that. So it's made me have more patience and not have a debt mentality. And as far as that goes, take responsibility for my own actions. And that goes in the spiritual sense too. It reflects into your physical life. If you're giving something else responsibility for who you are, what you are, your spirit, your soul, whatever, or your mood, whatever, then that's what I was doing. I had to check myself. You know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let Cheryl, you tell them how come.
That's your dog.
Oh,
That's Jimmy.
yeah, that's
Oh, who's a good boy? That's a good boy.
every time we sit down, he has to be on one of our laps.
Why not? Why not?
We have a third it's like having a third panelist. There's 3 people
Yeah,
on one
that's
panel.
true.
As long as he doesn't put his input in, he's a pretty fun.
He could be good at marketing. Anyway, I know a lot of people. I actually have a friend who learned how to fix up houses. That's all he did since he was like, I want to say 4 or 5. He was messing around with power tools. I was messing around with computers. He eventually started to learn how to fix houses all by himself, not really paying anybody to do it. So he would go just flip a house, and then he would go flip another house. And it became really, really lucrative for him because he would just go into these houses that were completely uninhabitable. That you like go there and then the wood's falling off. And the perfect example of managing your resources, he would fix them up, flip it for like half the price, and just keep flipping. And I know he's doing really well right now. Honestly, part of me eventually, once I start getting my business and stuff, it really is something I've even looked into too, just like learning to flip houses and finding the right resources and the right people. If you can't do that, to start creating that residual income, because it's all about learning a few skill sets and then putting them to work, like Rick and Cheryl were saying, and just making sure that you can save up, and then actually create the life you want to.
One of
I really love what you said with Cheryl. She makes her own stuff. That's another interesting aspect that a lot of people don't realize about business owners. You don't necessarily have to worry about spending a lot. Think about giving and receiving. You got different business owners that have different businesses, but your services may balance one another out. So you could actually barter and really work off one another. So it's a way of keeping costs down as well. Especially if you're making your own goods, because materials can be kind of costly. So you can negotiate with other people and work those prices down. Love that. Congrats to you on that one, Cheryl. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's really good.
I've been doing that all my life. If there's something that I can make, I'll make it instead of going out and buying it. Because you never know what is in the stuff that you're buying, for one thing, and where it was made and all this other stuff. So it cuts down the cost. And then I have like an Etsy store, so I do resell things too. So it works both ways. Works out good. And
Trying to repurpose.
what Kareem was saying, we worked on the house and flipped it and everything. And what did we do? We did the whole thing.
Stripped it, tiled it, we did the kitchen, the bathroom, the garage, all like that. You retiled.
That'd be a lot of fun to do with you two around. As long as I had beers in my hand, that'd be fine. No, I'm kidding. But no,
We had a good time doing it. But one of my good friends I grew up with was a millionaire by the time he was 25 from doing exactly what Kareem said. And he's still a millionaire today, And every time that I hook up with him, he goes, "Rick, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Living in Hawaii, dude. What are you doing?" He's like, "Fixing on houses, living in Wisconsin, freezing my butt off." I'm like, "Why are you doing that?"
Because it's all about creating that last.
He's still living in Wisconsin and freezing, and he just can't leave there. He likes it. It's nice and cold, and
Well, they have the Green Bay Packers, so it's not a complete lose-lose. He's good.
And they got cheese. They got cheese.
They have a lot of cheese there too.
yeah, big deal.
Yeah.
But now I've got a craving for Jack in the Box. Thank you, Rick.
working there. It was a lot of fun. I was the window person. People would come from miles around to talk. You know, it was unique talking to the clown, and then they got me, and I really played it. You know, they really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
That was a big part of her personal development because she was really shy and introverted. So she didn't want to talk to people straight up front. Even though she was the A student, you know the type. Shy, go to school, do all the right stuff, never get a date. You know the kind. You guys know. And like when she got a job, then it was a clown face. So they didn't see her. She could be goofy. She could be
they didn't
silly.
know if it was me when they pulled up to the window.
So it really was therapy for her, you know.
Yeah.
Ironically, that's how my parents met. My mom's first job was at Jack in the Box. I think that was it was either in Seattle or Portland. My parents are from the West Coast, so I never knew much about Jack in the Box other than what my dad says. Well, it's a romantic meeting spot.
Yeah. In fact, my first husband there.
Wow.
Talk about a classy date, eh? Where you want to go, babe? Oh, let's go to Jack in the Box and get a.
Oh, man.
No, I worked there, and he was a regular customer. If your mother worked at one in Seattle, maybe she worked at the same one. What year was she working there?
We could do a product now to make some money, a good spending of business people. Entrepreneur Power Hour dating. Where to go on a date and find your soulmate. What do you think, Kareem? Jack in the Box.
I know the reason she worked there was her parents told her, "You're going to get out there, you get a job. I'm not paying for your tickets to go see Jimi Hendrix." So,
oh yeah, we knew Jimi Hendrix's dad.
Yeah,
she knew him better than.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix's dad was real cool. Well. We better get back on subject here, huh?
Oh, we gotta be entrepreneurs.
That's so cool, though, man. You met. Fuck, did you really meet Jimi Hendrix's father?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we both know him, but he's dead now.
Oh,
He would come in the lab. My dad's philosophy was go in the hospital lobby if you meet girls, and jack a lab coat on the way that says Doctor something, and just sit down and read the paper, man. Look at that.
Yeah, he was, I don't remember how old he was, probably in his late 70s, maybe 80.
Was he?
And he always had to come in and get lab work at the hospital that I worked at.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, somebody in the Seattle area with the last name Hendrix spelled the same. Everybody says, "Oh, are you Jimi Hendrix, Dad?"
Everywhere he
and
goes.
So yeah, and he'd whip out a picture of Jimmy in his wallet. He was so proud and everything. So yeah, he was a little teeny short guy. I always remember that.
Actually, speaking of good spending habits, I've seen what he did for performances, and really, he just rigged an amp. And honestly, there was no like distortion like we know today back then. So he honestly just rigged an amp, rigged his guitar. He played a left right-handed or right-left. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of
left-handed
utility,
and he played a right-handed guitar.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
he could reach the strings easier to tune it while he played.
Is that what he did? Upside down and backwards or something, right? I don't know how he did, but he was good.
Oh, hell yeah.
So definitely an interesting thing. Not necessarily like what we're talking about, but just showing that entrepreneurs or people just in your own creativity, don't be afraid to go out and experiment a little bit and see what you can come up with.
That's right, and exactly that segues perfectly into exactly what I wanted to say, Kareem, about creativity and finances, okay? Because one time, you know, we've been through a lot. Cheryl and I have been together like 30 years, and I'll make this story short, but we lost our home one time during the housing crisis, right? But that didn't stop us, okay? We also, I lost my job, both of my jobs, like within the same, I don't know, 90 days or something like that. So during that time, the only income we had was on the internet, like maybe $500 a month. You're cooked in this country. You know, you're going to have to go on welfare or something. But I always wanted to go to Costa Rica. So I found a dude that would let us take care of his 100-acre farm and let us live in Costa Rica for a year for nothing. Mm-hmm. Now, $500 a month in Costa Rica, that's living large, man. Mm-hmm. You know? So as far as managing money, like I don't know how I would have done it in America. You know, moved home to my mom, got help from a friend, took my family there. But this way, you know, we stayed a year in Costa Rica. We worked on the internet. We got the cultural experience. We learned how to hablo Costa Rican, you know, and it gave us a very interesting money managing entrepreneurial situation, you know?
Yeah, especially going to another country.
Yeah. Shit, I couldn't even understand the boards. I go in there to the internet.
Yeah, they're all in
Spanish, and so's the people that sell you how many pesos for the colones para un hora, and they go, here you go, and they pull up the window, it's all Spanish. I'm like, oh my God. Even you try to type it in Spanish, what the heck? The keyboard is all goofed up, you know? So it was a very interesting experience for us, but
and of course he found a job for me. He always finds out, here's a job for you, here's a job for you.
You gotta put your work, you know, and you gotta find something that she likes to do so she can't complain that she's not gonna do it. Right?
Well, it's the whole fact of you just taking a journey somewhere else, which very few people I've seen do. And then they go live in another, like I know some people go to like touristy places and take pictures of like, oh, we went to Costa Rica. We were in the Hilton 3 out of 4 days, but we went to Costa Rica and we took some pictures. But actually going to another culture, immersing yourself in there and finding ways to cope and adapt, figuring out how the currency works, figuring out how the language works, just meeting people. Like when I went to Mexico, I lived with a foster family, which was really cool because I wanted to actually learn Spanish and be part of a culture. I didn't want to just sit in a classroom and learn it. And by doing that, I think dollars back there was like 8 or 9 pesos, so it was living pretty good. And then you get to see how you can use your money more effectively. And then when you come here, you can appreciate more because some people down there don't have as much. And some people down there would think $1 is a lot. Because my cousin used to tell me that Americans were rich. And I said, well, no, we're not rich. You know, I just have a TV and a car or two. I have a few things to my name that I enjoy. I'm not rich. And he said, compared to the people where, you know, you're looking at, depends where if you're rich, you know, you consider yourself, you know, wealthy or not. Do you have good spending habits or not? And the people in Egypt, to them, having a 1-bedroom apartment or having a small house with a computer and a few luxuries was amazing. So it really puts in perspective how we spend money and what we can really save on. And then if you look back at them, they'd be happy with maybe half of the size of this room. So do you really need all that crazy stuff?
I think it's important to touch on gratitude. And that's what we're learning in Pay Me What I'm Worth, is to be grateful and that we can never outgive the universe. So the more you give, the more you open yourself up to receive. So I think gratitude is a very important element of that as well. And being grateful for the people in your life, for the things you have, for the opportunities that still have yet to come your way. I know it can be difficult sometimes when you're going through a lot of shit and you feel like nothing's going to get better. You know, life weighs you down and it's hard sometimes. But I remember all of you guys when I'm feeling like crap, and remember why I'm doing this show with my brother, and that everyone on the panel here really respects me and loves me, and I love everybody here too. And it keeps you going in those times, and that's what the gratitude is good for. You know, the walls are closing in. You just got to go, wait a minute. I got a lot to really be thankful for. Because there's people in the world who don't even have what I have. There's people who don't eat every day. There's people who don't drink water every day. You know, so it's really easy to get caught up in your own head, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And you got to project that out into the world and look at around you at people that may be worse off than you, and then realize, wow, I actually am pretty damn fortunate. So, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, you know, actually, my parents, when I grew up, I grew up, fortunately, my dad had a job where they paid for the kids. You know, they wanted them to, if you're going to go, they wanted them to travel, basically. And so they paid for us to go on all the trips around the world and all that. And actually, you're right, gratitude. It's a great thing there, but there's three things I like to beat on: gratitude, respect, and humility. Those are the three things that I learned from traveling abroad. When for example, you traveled into Paris, I remembered my parents said, make sure you have a dictionary. At least try to speak the language to the people. Be respectful and try. Because what my parents were told was Americans are kind of seen as arrogant, conceited, full of themselves. And in a lot of ways, I could see that from some of the families that went with us that we traveled with, where they would not even try. It's like, you speak English or not? So here my parents are. We got the dictionaries out. We're trying, donde el baño or whatever. Where's the bathroom? At least have respect enough to ask in their own language. But if they saw that we tried, there's a lot of respect for at least giving them the courtesy of their own language. You're trying to talk with them in their own tongue. So, but that's just one thing I just thought about when you were talking about gratitude. Like I said, I think there's a lot about gratitude, a lot about respect, and a lot about humility. It goes a long way.
Because when we're talking about spending habits, we're not just talking about physical cash. I mean, that is an asset. Definitely it is. But there's things that really matter more, like integrity, honesty, respect, humility. And I really even quote Warren Buffett that integrity and commitment are some of the most important things. And I think he'd said, like, honesty is a very expensive gift. Don't expect it from cheap people. And people who are true to their word, as long as I'm around doing something, I'm going to try and commit to whatever I have to do. If I have to be here, then I'm going to be here. If I have to work on whatever I have to work on, if I have to be at band practice, if I make an agreement with my girlfriend, then I'm going to follow through as best as I can. And in terms of good spending habits of business people, to me, that's the most expensive gift. It's not necessarily pulling out a bunch of wads of hundreds and just saying, here you go. Because that in and of itself doesn't have as much value as someone who's committed, who's honest, humble, like you were saying, Ron, respectful of other people, and just driven towards their dreams. That is worth all the currency in the world.
I want to piggyback on that, Kareem, and let all of our viewers know. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you better be all in, and you better be all in 100%, because this isn't easy. What me and Kareem are doing, this isn't easy. What we're all doing together, this isn't easy, but you know what? We're creative visionaries, and that's what you have to be. You have to have a creative vision. You have to have desire. You have to have love in your heart. You have to have respect for people. You have to have a desire to give yourself to others and let yourself be inspired by others. You have to be willing to listen to people. You got to be willing to work together with anybody in any part of the world, and you got to be willing to put your shit aside for other people. And I think that's the most important aspect of it, is being able to be a team player, being able to lead as well as follow, inspire and be inspired, and brainstorm as well as brainstorm with others. And so it's all give and receive. You can't do this if you're a greedy person. You can't do this if you think, oh, I'm going to make $1 million tomorrow. No, you're not. Certainly not without the help of other people and a lot of other people. And you damn well better not be bragging about that. Because I'll tell you, when I was on the internet, I've been on the internet now for 7 years as a marketer. And whenever there was some loser sending me stuff about how rich he was or showing me all these opportunities, I didn't believe it for a second. And I was like, I'm not even interested. So it's important to be humble, like Ron was saying, and be very, very respectful of how other people are going to see you when you're talking about something or you're showing somebody something like that. You can't be flashy. Possessions are just possessions, right? So it's all about the spirit of networking is what I think.
I think it's more important to actually show your skills, not a car. I would rather show people my abilities in public speaking, because that's something I enjoy, rather than saying I bought a Ferrari. I'm sorry, I cut you off, Cedric.
Does anybody follow Gary Vaynerchuk?
Not familiar with him.
What'd you say, Cedric?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
No, you'll have to give me some links, bud. Kareem will hook us up.
Yeah, his father came from the Soviet Union. When he was a kid, he was like 2 years old, and they lived in a one-room flat in New York. And he started out working in a liquor store, and his father saved his money, and he didn't spend anything. He talked about going down to the store and buying toilet paper, and they would separate the sheets. And he eventually saved his money up and bought a liquor store. And then Gary was entrepreneurial. He always talks about the grind. He always talks about helping others and so forth. And what he did was he started a thing called Wine Library. And he was basically talking about the different wines and different things like that on the internet. And today he has a multimedia company of 600 employees. This guy, if he's not a billionaire yet, he's getting close to being there. But it's called #AskGaryV. You can find him. But he has an interesting story. Very interesting.
Right on. We just welcome Mrs. Julie Wolf. She's a Skype expert. She's here tonight. She's joining us. Welcome, Julie. She's muted.
But I really want to piggyback off what you said there.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because a lot of people, maybe they have a little bit of money to spend and then they'll do some frivolous. But this guy literally, like you said, he was spreading the sheets. Why? Because he had a dream. And another person I really like is John Paul Mitchell. He does the shampoo. Or The Rock, who talked about times when they were homeless or they only would have like $10 to $7 in their bank account. And you're thinking, that's kind of crazy. Why would somebody like that successful, have been in those positions? And it's really that you come with that dream of just having $5, of just having 10 cents to your name. But you have that burning ambition, that humility, that respect, all going back to that, and that vision. And the vision is worth $1 billion. It's really becoming a person who can make that vision a reality that makes the $1 billion. Not just, of course, the product does too, but really it's in here more than it's out there.
Interesting. Some interesting people that I would love to have heard regarding this topic tonight. For example, I would love to have had my grandparents on. They made it through the Great Depression. The people that made it through the Great Depression could have. Some of their input would have been invaluable, and I think even more so with today. Here I had a gentleman that was a client of mine, about 6 years ago. He was in his 80s. He did not trust banks. No credit card. He didn't have any credit cards. He had his money was in his walls. Here in Cleveland, there's been a lot of guys that have been flipping properties and all that. And they found inside some of these houses that have been demolished, they're finding like thousands and thousands of dollars hidden in the walls. That's just the way they lived. So I mean, it'd be interesting just to hear some of the people that were going through it back then.
Yeah, definitely in the Great Depression. The Great Depression could teach you a lot, and I mean a lot, about the habits of successful spending business people, because to really have to scramble for just food can give you a really powerful insight in what to be grateful for. And I know some people here would be upset maybe if they didn't have a smartphone or a big screen TV and think, well, am I getting ahead? Or, should I buy one of these things to stay up, or do I need to buy fancy clothes? And then you look at back people who survived without any of that, people who just got by. Yeah, you could learn a ton of that.
Yeah, I know my grandma was what she had done, because my grandparents came from nothing. They really did. I mean, but by the time I was born, my grandparents were quite a bit older, obviously. And what did my grandfather do with his pension that he had from the military and so I think a railroad? He bought a farm out in Minnesota. So when I was born, I grew up on this farm with my grandparents. So watched them. They put all their money into seeds and some animals, and that's what we lived on. The only thing we really needed maybe to go to the store for was maybe some milk and maybe some yeast or something for bread. That was about it. My grandmother just very little, If she wanted a treat, there was those little 5-cent candies or penny candies, whatever that they used to have, and so we go into this old pharmacy. And that was her treat for us as the kids, little candies. But it's interesting just to see where they came from and how it transformed them in the later stages of their lives.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, we got so many opportunities now. I mean, look what we're doing right here. We're from all different parts of the world, and we can get together like a family. We can get to know each other. We can connect. We can help this world, and we can help people by having a mastermind like this where people can come and go, wow, I can be myself here. I don't have to worry about being judged or criticized. I mean, it's such a great thing, the internet, but there's a lot of garbage on it too. But this is one of the positive aspects of the internet is networking. So, I mean, technology's really been amazing for this. Really been amazing. I really enjoy it.
And my grandparents would tell us, get away from the computers. They're going to ruin your brain. That's just the way they were. It just, my grandfather, well, the car's broke down. I'm going to go fix it myself. To hell with everybody else. My grandmother, well, she would handle all the kitchen duties and all that. And if my grandfather came into the kitchen, get the hell out of my work spot.
My mom and dad went through the Great Depression and all of that too. So that's probably where they got the spending habits. They didn't have the money or anything. And then I just picked it up from there. My dad did everything, fixed the car, built the house, so my whole family did everything all the time. And it worked out good because we'd save a lot more money that way.
My grandfather, I was pretty much raised by him as the father figure. My dad was like this Mexican pimp dude. You guys know, I was talking about that before. He wasn't around that much. He was pretty much drinking and chasing women and chasing drugs. But he wasn't, and he was, a figure to be. But my grandfather taught me how to fish and how to hunt and what honesty and integrity was. And he lived through the Great Depression, and they owned everything, and they bought everything cash. And the only thing that I see that really, to me anyways, they were toxic. My grandmother died of cancer, and they were still living off Social Security. Like when they were in their 70s, they were totally dependent on the government sending them a check. Now, yeah, my grandpa had a garden. He could shoot a deer and all stuff like this. But if that check didn't come, there wouldn't be gas. Yeah, he had money in the bank and all like that. But if the check didn't come from the government, he wouldn't have money to put in to somewhere. So he really didn't have he owned hundreds of acres and properties and like that. But the government really was paying the taxes, Social Security, So he didn't, if you ask me, he didn't get much past the slave, mentality, because they had him by the short hairs. Oh, the check don't come, no money, So, and I'd like to get around that because I don't want to be dependent on anyone. And I know I have Social Security coming in a couple of years, but I don't want it, and I know that my income right now, like for years, I could get food stamps. I know I could, but I don't give a shit. They can shove them as far as I'm concerned. I personally myself, this is just me. I mean, okay, this is ego and all like this, but I'd rather pick fruit off the trees I have here and go catch a fish and lose 20 pounds than take anything from them. I'm a honorably discharged United States veteran, and I served my country, but I don't want nothing from them. Anything. I have to use their money. It sucks that enough. And I try to barter and everything to get my food and stuff like that from the products that I produce, but it's not always effective, you know. And if you're independent and I don't feel like I'm very humble, but if you're an egotistical bastard like me and aren't going to take shit, you might have to take your licks, you know, because I don't want anything to do with them, even though I have to pay my taxes, and that's about as far as I want to go to keep them off my ass, you know.
Bastards.
I just don't want anything to do with them. I mean, I served country. I did, you know, 25 years as a surgical assistant and served society, and I felt like, you know, that I was fooled and bullshitted and lied to. So I'm on my own now, and I've been on my own for a lot of years, as far as like not being dependent on something external from me, and it isn't easy.
May I chime in on that? Damien was talking about earlier, you know, how on the internet there's a lot of people want to flash stuff and things like that. But this conversation that we're having right here, that's the meat and the potatoes of what people really want to see out here. Now our society has been geared up now today to expect things. You know, we're more to expect things from the government or some kind of handout or something like that. There is no value in hard work. And if we could take that message and convey it out there to people, you know what, you can attract a lot of people, because they know that you're coming from a point of being real. You can see right through it when people are flashing money on cars, you know, cars, pointing at their cars and stuff like that. You know, that's a byproduct. If that's what people want and have. I drive a 1998 740 BMW. Okay. I don't want a new car because it's made out of metal. I don't want that.
Yeah, no, new cars are like plastic tin cans.
They said, why don't you get a new car? I don't want a plastic car. You know?
I want to live.
Yeah, I want to live. And so, you know, the value of hard work. My grandmother also raised me. And I was raised in East Texas, and she came out of the Depression. And she had 5 kids to raise without a husband. And there was a guy came through. He would go to people's houses and stay there a couple of nights. He would follow the circus, and he would make candy in the kitchen. So he taught my grandmother how to do that, how to make that candy. My dad was the oldest. So she started right in her kitchen making candy. My dad would take it out in the evening time, go down to the colleges and different things, and people would buy the candy. And by the time I was 8 years old, we moved down there, and she had built a business, a little place to make candy right in front of her house. And people would come from all over the United States to fill their trunk up with this candy, okay? And one thing that it taught me, I had chores, I had to wrap candy, I still played basketball. So from 5:30 a.m. until 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock, you know what, I was busy. I didn't have time to sit around and, you know, twiddle my thumbs and stuff like that. And that's where I got my grit for being an entrepreneur, from that. And, you know, we need to really, really focus on out there, especially with social media. Everybody's looking. You'll be surprised how many people are looking at you. And if you can take that one thing right there and you can convey it out there into the marketplace, you really wouldn't have to worry about taking money to put into advertisement and stuff like that, because you just made yourself attractive and people will want to follow you.
And what was the cost and what would be the cost for that?
Nothing.
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 Well, there's so much stuff It's terrible now on the internet. I'm sure if I go through social media and scroll, they'll be like, make, 8,500,000, pasting email. Just click here, one button.
Yeah.
I know it's easy, not hard. This video will only be up for 10 seconds.
Your first million in 30 days.
Yeah, make your first million in 30 days.
If you could chronicleize the hustle and put it out there, you show the people the hustle, you could attract a lot of people.
I want to see one video where like, hey, how you doing? You're not going to make that much money in these months or a year. This is going to take a long time. This is going to be painful. You're going to have times when people don't believe in you, when people are putting you down. But if you keep at it, but you never see advertisements like that anymore.
No.
It's always like some dude. I'm like, get, come on.
I've done many blog topics or PRs on just that topic, that it does take work, it takes consistency.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about buying things that you need on an entrepreneurial basis, I think it's pretty basic. You don't buy things, you don't buy clothes, you don't buy cars, you don't buy a house unless it's a durable good. It's going to sustain you.
Yeah.
I think if you're making purchases on an entrepreneurial level, you have to weigh the cost of what you're looking on purchasing as to the durability. How is it going to serve you? Is it going to be an education? Something like see you on Skype. That was a purchase that I recently made because I see the value in that. And it's what I would classify as a durable good. It's something
Yes, me
that's
too.
going to be educational. It's something that's going to enhance me personally as an entrepreneur, to go out and reach other entrepreneurs that my goal is to help them. It's not about the money.
Yep. That's right. I want to piggyback on Francis just before you, Kareem. One thing we also have to remember, when you become an abundant person, you got lots of food, you got lots of money, share it. Because if you don't, and if you're greedy, the universe will take it all away from you. And that's
You're right. You are
every time. Because if you look at the earth, what do we live in? We live in an organism. It breathes. It provides for us. It grows plants for us to eat. It gives us water. Now imagine if the earth was like some people. It would be a very different place, wouldn't it?
It would be a place of devastation.
Exactly. And it's trying to heal from all that. It's trying to heal from all that. And it's trying to teach us something. Whenever there's a natural disaster of epic proportions, that's a message. That's a message from Mother Nature saying, look, you got to get your shit together here, guys. And you know what? It's going to happen because people are starting to wake up and they're going, wait a minute, maybe I can't be putting stuff into the air constantly. It's a body. The earth is a body. We're living inside of a body. This is a consciousness that we're all connected to. So giving and receiving is as natural as breathing and exhaling. Trees give you oxygen, you exhale carbon dioxide and give back. It's the oldest law in the universe, man. Go ahead, Kareem.
Now, I was going to say, in terms of what you guys were talking about, and especially going back to what Francis was saying, I think when you look at how they're spending, there's there's obviously good and bad debt, and there's good and bad. Like, is this really going to enhance what I'm doing? Am I really investing in me? Or am I investing in some kind of education to get better as a person? Not just something that I can put around maybe a car, not just something buying a new computer, but some kind of education that I can go out there and better myself. See, I didn't really see a point to taking public speaking classes, I think, back in high school. At first, I didn't even want to take them. I said, this is kind of goofy. Why should anybody learn public speaking? And funny enough, now I'm trying to make almost a career out of that. And the interesting thing about that is, do you want to invest in your education? I'm not just talking about college. I'm not just talking about get a degree. Education doesn't even stop there. And I would even argue that self-education will earn you a living, but or formal education will earn you a living, but self-education will earn you a life. So it's the fact that get self-education, teach yourself stuff, and you'll be amazed. I didn't know how to build websites. Now I'm helping people with websites. I'm helping people with different stuff with logos. I'm helping people learn SEO and keyword research. It's become crazy. And I'm doing so many different things because I started saying, I'm going to look to the self, and I'm going to start teaching myself different things. And you'll just keep branching out. And in terms of how that helps your spending, you in turn from spending to have people help you, you can now provide a service. So it's all about self-education, good and bad debt. Good debt is definitely going out and investing in yourself.
I had to laugh. I'm sitting here. It just dawned on me. I'm like, there's a big hypocrisy when people talk about gambling here in the States. It's like, oh, that's a bad thing. But earlier Chris made a comment. He goes, "You're an entrepreneur. You got to go all in."
Yeah.
Which is so true. Well, ironically, there we go. The fact of the matter is that life is a gamble, and the entrepreneurial spirit, same thing. You got to go all in.
Yep, I agree. What do you say, Julie?
Yeah, go ahead, Julie. We haven't heard from you yet. Sorry.
I want to know Cedric's last name.
What did she say?
Wilson.
Wilson.
You know, Mr. Wilson.
Wilson.
Julie, your volume's really low, Julie.
It's funny. Okay. Is this
better.
better?
Yes.
Yes.
Yell if you have
Yes,
to.
my
Guys, the
microphone
people.
Can you hear me now? God.
I like everything you guys are talking about. I'm just amazed at what Chris is saying about, the sensitivity and the life of the earth that we are little microbes, parasites, if you will, on.
We are.
I mean, I like to honor humanity a little bit more than parasites, but it's, we forget about the earth being a living being. I like that stuff. And I liked what you guys were saying about investing in yourself. I totally understand what you're saying, Kareem. I guess that's something that I used to encourage people to do more, is take the time to learn some things, and then you can be helpful to other people. I have lots and lots of skills besides Skype for Business. And people have hired me to edit their videos, or I don't know, all kinds of things. Be the voice on a presentation, and I help my members with their WordPress blogs and with their autoresponders and list building, and there's new tools I'm finding all the time, and I love helping people learn how easy it is to make video. There's so many ways to make video. It's just so incredibly easy. And the biggest thing is, I think if we're I liked what Cedric said too, way back when, about, actually, I'd like to hear it again. I mean, I think I was distracted. It was something about being, you can be attractive. You can attract people by being yourself and by sharing and giving. And I have lots and lots of people who come and find me where I am, which is Skype, because of my YouTube channel. Like Frances the other day, we got on and I helped her. I was supposed to be running out the door with my husband, and she goes, "Oh, can we do a quick call?" And he was busy doing something. So I said, sure. And we ended up making 3 videos that were pretty educated.
We were on for an hour and a half. You made a quick exit out the door.
But what is, yes, it was amazing. What is the topic? I mean, ask me the question, because I've just basically been coming in late and listening to you guys.
We're talking about successful spending habits of entrepreneurs.
Successful spending patterns.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love
Yes.
never, ever,
How would you
ever,
manage
ever
your
be in
money?
debt. It's a
And I actually just said,
personal goal of mine.
I just invested what I said was a very valuable asset. Yeah, I could have gone out and I could have bought a new slack set or a new pair of jeans, but I took the money because I wanted to invest in myself and be more of a benefit to those that I came in contact with to enhance their lives. So I invested in a Skype program called See You on Skype, and I put the link in here. I strongly suggest that everybody come take a look at that, because Skype is a valuable asset to any entrepreneur, and you need the knowledge. If you don't understand it, come in and listen to what Julie has to share with everybody. She's a walking encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to Skype and your way to get around and use it to the best advantage. You're going to make so many more connections rather than just chatting with family and friends.
Could you put your Skype address in the chat, please?
I put the link in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
You're more than welcome,
Yeah,
Cedric.
it's all about connections, really. That's the whole lifeblood of really being an entrepreneur or anything, is just getting to know new people every day. And by doing that, you can create the best community in the world. And everybody knows something you don't.
Yeah.
Just get this plethora of knowledge.
Yeah. It takes a village. It takes
a mouthful of truth.
Yeah. Like we dream, everyone, all of us are vibrational beings, and we're much more than we appear to be.
I knew I heard it. You were talking about your ego and all of that, and I just see in both of your beautiful faces all this heart.
Oh.
They're good people. Very good people.
Thank you.
Just don't get between Rick and his surfboard. That would be good.
Rick, you can't go surfing today. What?
Do you like surf, Rick?
Yeah. In fact,
everybody has a list that they built.
Oh.
Everybody has a list that they built, people that you've been out of contact with. If you have a dress, and to maybe pull it into perspective, you have an outfit. Last year's jeans will be this summer's cutoffs. So repurpose your list and go back in, reconnect with those people. Use the assets that you have.
It was the silver lining, wasn't it? Today's training was
repurpose them.
Right. That's actually what I don't know if you realize it, Francis, but that was the silver lining of today's lesson, was reconnecting with people, re-engaging them, putting them in relevant lists.
I started that point because I'm guilty of not doing it.
Everyone is. Especially people like yourself who do a lot of networking. You probably collected a lot of friends on Skype, but after we collect them, what do we do with them? How do we follow up with them? So that's some of the things.
6,000 people in my list.
And Skype doesn't cost anything.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And 76,000 people that I'm connected with that are on my list that I've collected over 15 years, not many people will change their Skype contacts. If you're making up what am I trying to say? If you're making up a capture form, the one thing you should put on your capture form is your Skype contact. Request a Skype contact They won't give you a phone number, but they can use Control-Alt-Delete and block you on Skype. So, oh well, they're lost. But you've got their contact. Connect with them on Skype.
Yep.
It won't only save you time, it will save you a lot of things going into the spam folder that if you don't know how to create a proper email to get past the spam filters, you go into Skype, it gives you a personal one-on-one contact. They get your personality, you get theirs, and you learn to read people. You know to what questions to ask and to get them talking about themselves on a personal level, and you build contacts from there. It's real hard to establish that in an email.
And somehow, even though you can do that on a lot of social media, ultimately, when you're ready to really connect with somebody, it seems like people say, hey, do you have a Skype? Yes, I do. Let's connect. So the people you know you want to connect with, then it's time to, and yeah. Anyway, so we'll thank you for all of that, Frances. I identify myself with Skype, so I thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, the thing about, to get back to what we were talking about is, yeah, I think it's important to invest in yourself. And I also think it's important that you choose the best people to, oh my God, guess who's home?
What are you? Purple things.
Purple things. He got me purple things. Purple kisses.
See?
See,
That's good business spending.
Yeah, that's good business spending. He's investing in you.
Yes, he invests.
Make your wife happy.
Yeah, that's good, because if you don't, you know, you might not have money to invest.
And smart man.
Example.
Rick does that all the time too. That's really nice.
One of the things I can add is that I felt wealthy when I came onto the internet, because I realized that there was this abundance of people, you know, and how easy it was to connect for absolutely free. And that was before social media was even popular. And there's just, I learned and taught email list building systems and follow-up and relationship building before social media was around. But the wealth of people, I mean, the money isn't in the list. Where is it? It's in the people. It's in your connection to the people, the valuable connection in helping each other out. It's so valuable to be able to give. Very valuable.
Yeah, it's interesting. It just kind of dawned on me. You know, here goes like the ADD part of me again, I guess. You know, everybody talks about being in that 1%. You know, that 1%, they've got it all. You know, so there's the majority of us that are in the 99%. That means 99% of the 90% of the people out here need some assistance of some sort or another. So even when we're connecting on social media, we have something of value to 99% of the people out there, whether we know it or not. And the only way you can find out is to get out there and just talk to people. Doesn't cost anything with the social media that's available today.
No, so I mean, there's no excuse to say, oh, I don't know how to do networking. You just go out and talk to people, meet people, tell them what you're doing, tell them, you know, once you start practicing it, it's as easy as pie. Just got to get out and do it.
Like, oh, I can't make connections. I can't talk to people. It sounds to me like an excuse. I mean, unless you live on a desert island, then you probably don't have internet regardless. But it's not that hard to say, hey, hi, how you doing? You know, what do you do on here? Just like regular conversation. Sorry, Ron.
One big thing I want to add to that people seem to forget about, and this is maybe one of the big reasons that people have a hard time connecting on social media. Something to remember is there is stuff going on outside. Don't be afraid to get out there and to connect to people on the outside. It doesn't cost anything to talk to your neighbors and talk to the people on the streets there. Stay connected to the real world as well, because the quickest way of getting yourself uncomfortable is just cutting yourself off from the real world. So you got to have a balance between both sides of it.
You can't really see at this time of day, but out those windows, there's a forest. So my neighbors are like squirrels and coyotes and deer.
I like it.
Pretty much the only time I can connect with people is when I go shopping and go on a spiritual retreat now and then, but mostly it's the internet. But yeah, I love people. I mean, it's like.
One thing out on the internet, a lot of times when you're chatting with people, first thing they want to do is start to pitching you on what they have, and you have to do just the opposite. You have to go out there and add value and find out where they're struggling at, and be willing to help them without really anything in return. And if you can do that, if you can really do that to help people. Again, it's all about becoming attractive, and people you'll be the go-to guy in the industry. Anytime you start something out, you have to, just like Damien was saying earlier, you have to give. Even if you made $1 billion, you want to start to giving away. The more you give, the more you receive, and that is a true proverb.
How do you get the $1 billion? You give people what they want. I mean, $1 billion doesn't come out of nothing. It's like Zig Ziglar said.
Right.
You can have everything you want if you just give enough other people what they want. I think it's as simple as that. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Just really go out there, say hi to people. I just say, hey, I want to hang out with some cool people, or, come hang out with us, something like that. I don't ever pitch. I talk to people about, oh, what do you do? Well, I'm an entrepreneur in this, and that. I like to do this. I'm interested in this. And then we just talk, and I just say, hey, stop by one night, come hang out. And people get interested. And then you get all these people with different talents. Julie's good with Skype. Ron's good with different investment stuff. I can do the tech side of things. Francis is really good at marketing, so are Rick and Cheryl. And then you get all these people who have awesome specializations and combine it into one, suddenly have a super force of people. And now we're all good at Skype, and we're all good at marketing, and we're just plethora of skills. And we can really just dominate not only social media, but we can just help so many more people with the skills we have. Because now someone can say, oh, I'm having trouble with Skype. Oh, well, I know somebody who could fix your problem. Or I'm having trouble with a payment processor. Well, I know someone too. Or I'm having trouble with network marketing. Who can I go to?
Kareem, I have one thing to say that you shortcutted yourself on.
What?
You are excellent at graphics and design.
I'm okay at it.
I have had more compliments over my new logo that we created the other night together, and I've had more compliments on that, and people coming to me and asking me, who did that? Did you do that? And I said, no, I can't take credit for it. I had excellent person that I'm associated with and network with, and invited them to the Power Hour and told them they should come meet you, and you will be getting some calls, I'm sure.
Okay, thanks. I always appreciate that. Really, any business is by connecting people. I mean, we all use Facebook, as far as I'm aware. We all use Skype. I mean, really, that was Skype and Microsoft was Bill Gates getting together with a bunch of people. Maybe some parts of it were unethical. And I will say you probably shouldn't go and steal people's ideas and then take them. But regardless, don't be a pirate of Silicon Valley. But the idea of bringing different people and bringing different ideas is there. And so is the awesome part of Facebook. It was just Mark Zuckerberg saying, I have an idea to connect people that would be better than MySpace, which to me, that wasn't a huge bar to jump over. And he just got people in his dorm room like, I have a great idea to build this. And they're like, oh, he's crazy. But then 5 or 6 people jumped in there with him. They're like, I see a vision there. And I'm pretty sure the people who are like, I think it was a bad idea sitting there now. Like, so it's
I
just
think it's really important to remember, Kareem, that it doesn't matter about money that much. It matters about if you know yourself. Now, I have like 3 pieces of property here in Hawaii. They're all paid for. I could go surfing every day if I want to. Okay. The millionaire guys I know, and even the billionaire guys I know, they can't do it. They're sitting in an office. They're running a business. They're doing all kinds of shit. All right. Now, for me, I don't want that. I want to be at the beach every day. I'll help the old lady across the street out business or something like that, but that's my thing, you know? So, I mean, it's really important to know yourself. Like, most people don't even know a millionaire when they see one, all right? They think the millionaire is the guy that's, oh, look at the check I got. Just like you guys are saying, look at all the money. Mm-hmm. They don't even recognize a life when they see it. They think a life is a Ferrari, a mortgage, and going to an office every day. My son, he's still going through that, you know? He's got a lot of money. He's got a house and a car and a girlfriend like that. But Dad's out there surfing every day. Wait a minute. Dad, I wish I was surfing in Hawaii. Oh, yeah?
I actually gave a speech on that whole concept, and the first regret of people who I can't remember her name, Bronnie Ware, the nurse who worked with people who were in their last 12 weeks. The first regret was I wish I lived a life true to myself instead of the others expected me. The second one was that I didn't go into is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And Ron, it was great seeing you. I will catch you later. But the whole fact of I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Yeah.
Oh, take care, Ron. We'll see you again soon, bud.
Ron John.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. The wife came home and she's not feeling well, so I got to get rolling.
Get rolling.
We'll go through that crowdfunding thing tomorrow then, Ron.
Yep. Talk to you all later. Have a good one.
Take care. Go look after your woman.
Bye-bye.
But, yeah, I guess the point I was going to make is it's not the money for me. It's bringing people and saying I have a vision. Like Walt Disney had a vision. Like Bill Gates had a vision. Like John Paul Jones or anyone.
I like that.
It's just bringing people together, and that's really why I value this, and I value all of you. And there's no show without you guys. And
right.
It's going to keep going till people can see, hey, if we bring the world's entrepreneurs together, we can have a way better world. It's not going to be other things. It's not going to be depending on the government. It's not going to be trying these offers to make $1 billion by clicking or, sending emails through PayPal. It's by bringing people together. And Chris's kitty.
Yep. She wanted to be on the show, so okay, Sindel.
What's her name?
Sindel.
I did.
Buenos, look, there's a kitty on it. Are you watching?
I bring my bird, but he's loud.
Yeah, that's because me. Oh, there's your cat, Julie, right on.
Kitties.
Yep.
We might do a power hour just for animals.
That'd be cool.
We're having one now.
Yeah.
Get your dog back, Rick.
Right on, Rick.
This one's Molly.
I was talking about the animals that other on the show like me.
Who's that? Who's that?
And Chris.
Who's the puppy?
Who's your good boy?
Who's the puppy?
Oh, that's Monty.
We have
Hello, Monty.
Is that the one that sounds like he's having an asthma attack every time I talk to him?
the one. That's Maisie. We just let her in. We hope she doesn't start. I think she's wonderful.
My cat seems to be listening to you guys. Look at this.
That's cool. Is he all black?
That's
Yeah,
Bruno.
looks like it.
I love it. I want a cat like that too.
Who's a good boy?
That's a good boy.
All right, guys.
Hey, Kareem, I promised I would show you the graphic. Thank you for offering to help.
All right, Cedric, thanks for being here, bro. Yep, you can come anytime, buddy. You know you're welcome here, man.
Yeah, Cedric, it was very nice to spend time with you. Thanks for inviting, and I hope you had fun, man.
I had fun. I had
On
fun.
Skype?
I appreciate it. I signed up. I'll be here next week.
I enjoyed it. I learned a lot.
I have
Thank you.
a family of 8, so I have to go serve them now.
All right.
All right.
Enjoy
You guys,
it.
I enjoyed it. I'll see you later, okay?
Oh,
Later, guys.
Cedric.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So you have to hook. You have to
Kareem, that's
connect everyone with
trafficking.
Cedric. Kareem, you'll have to connect everyone with Cedric.
All right, I will.
Cedric. So yeah, Kareem, I told you I'd show you the graphic he
My
made.
cigarettes were full.
Aw.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Cool.
Were they?
So I shared that all over social media and wished everybody a happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Oh, okay. They're hiding.
And what a Skyper you are,
Yeah, she is.
Julie.
Happy Valentine's Week. Lots of love.
Aw.
Yeah, you too, Julie.
Oh, here's Malefic. Who's a good boy? Look at him, this big bastard.
Kitty hangouts.
Is he big?
Oh, look at him.
Oh my God. Oh, he's so relaxed. Who knows? Look at how relaxed he is. Are you
My
looking
boy,
at this?
aren't you?
Why don't you relax like that when we pick you up?
Ours doesn't either. She doesn't like it either.
I
Should
found
do
this
that.
guy outside.
Animals do personal development, and we'll just have a cat and like my bird and a dog on the thing, and people will be like, "What the heck is this?" Because everyone lost their mind.
I always like birds because they chirp and they make pretty sounds and kind of, gee, I wish I could speak bird.
Oh, you'll love my parrot.
You should teach him to swear at people, Kareem.
I will when he's not a baby and he starts talking.
Teach him to tell people to. Never mind.
No, keep it PG. Like Soul says, keep it PG-13.
Well, we're recording still. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh.
All right.
Do a lot of.
By the way, I'll compliment both of you fellas because you look very nice tonight and your backgrounds are excellent.
Thank you.
Yay.
I'm going to dress up for the show like Josh suggested, so he's got a good points, that young man.
Yeah.
Cheryl, I haven't heard you speak.
Oh, I was trying to, but everybody does so. I just shut up. Yeah.
Sorry.
Live like we do. We enjoy the outdoors and nature. That's all you can see outside of our place. You can see.
Oh.
That's so cool, man.
We don't enjoy.
Your latest craft. What is your latest craft, Cheryl?
Oh, let's see. I was cutting out some. Yeah, that too. I was cutting out some reusable grocery bags today.
Oh.
And also, I've been making these. I'm sitting at the table, so since you asked, I don't know if you can see it. It's a bandana with elastic in the back.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
A lot of people in Hawaii wear them, you know.
A lot of people here would wear one.
Yeah, I put in my Etsy store. I have to have my daughter model them for me so that I can put some pictures up on the Etsy.
You're using Etsy? Ah, I've only heard of it. Now I know someone.
Well, I want one because I was just pulling my hair up all the time in a ponytail because I can't keep it out of my face. That would be excellent, especially for a handicapped person with one arm.
Yeah, it really keeps it back nice. I like it. I usually wear it up in a corner.
How do I get one?
Well, you can give me your address. Skype me your address.
You guys.
Okay, I will do that. We're connected.
Yeah. So, Julie, do you craft? Oh, I can't hear you.
I would like to someday.
Oh,
I would like to someday, but I know I've the reason I was late though was because I basically just recently decided that I would spend less time on the internet and more time exploring myself. And I ended up getting a bunch of wild simulated herb seeds. And the reason I was late was because I was determined to finally get out there. I had made 7 beds in the forest and like 4 or 5 days ago. And these poor little seeds have their little tails sticking out, in a plastic bag. So I was like, and I left.
What kind of herbs you growing there, Julie?
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
Golden seal, how's that?
That's
Cool.
yeah.
Right. I have a lot of forest. If you guys have ever seen me out the window during the day, I live in the middle of a forest, so it has
I envy you
Would you
already.
like some rosemary?
Sure.
Rosemary's awesome. It helps with memory. I need to get some.
I have 3 rosemary bushes growing like trees in my backyard.
I bet that would grow easily.
And I will send you a rooted plant if you want.
Do you think it probably needs sun? I'll have to plant it in the clear-cut forest off the edge of my
No,
property.
where I have them in, they get maybe 4 hours of sun a day, but they're in a shaded area.
That's awesome. But guys, I do want to, it's at the top of the hour, and we can definitely continue this conversation. But just, hey, put away your checkbook, put away your wallet, and find what really matters to you and go out and make the right connections. I want to thank Damien.
This is Chris Peters. Kareem.
This is Julie Wolf.
And we have
See you on Skype.com.
Rand Richardson, sayonara.
And we also had Cedric and Bill.
Yep,
Always
Cedric
want
and
to thank Bill and definitely Cedric. It was fun.
See you tomorrow night.
And we will see you guys around. Keep some happy business habits, and we will see you next week. Rock on.
Aloha.
Francis, feel free to let Rick